Hey gang, Alfred Einstein from Specialized Pockets of Knowledge, once again with a quick update, reminding everybody that's going to bid on tax certificates this coming year that the auctions are coming up quickly. You might want to get your online batches together because we're going to start the auctions in Florida on June 1st. And I haven't participated in tax certificate auctions for a long time, but I can't imagine that it's gotten any easier. So there's just a few things that you have to remember that were changed just a little bit ago that's going to affect your tax certificate status if you prevail on a tax certificate. And these are the words that you don't want to see. You don't want to see property struck off to certificate holder. Now, you're not going to even consider those words unless and until you make application for a tax deed. Of course, you all know that your tax certificate has to be aged for 2 years before you can make application for that tax deed, but you certainly don't want to take possession. Unfortunately, the laws have changed and you may be forced to take possession. So let me explain it to you. I'm going to go back. There used to be a list of property available for taxes. So what happens is if somebody buys a tax certificate and the time runs and that certificate holder thinks it's time to make application for a tax deed to force payment of the money that they're owed, they make application for a tax deed, they bring it all the way through, they pay off all the other tax certificates, they're going to go to sale for $7,000 or $8,000, whatever the number is. Now, back in the day, if nobody bid on that tax deed, the property would go to a list called property available for taxes. And if and when somebody paid it or purchased the property for the taxes owed, the certificate holder or the person that made application for the tax deed would thereby get paid. But here's the problem. Florida got rid of that list a couple years ago. And now what happens is the property gets struck off to the certificate holder. I remember I've been teaching tax deeds and certificates for many, many years. And I always classified certificate holders as people or investors only interested in cash. Because up until recently, certificate holders or a tax certificate could never have ownership rights. You could never get a deed. But now that that's changed, you have to take the precautions because whatever your name is that you make application for that tax deed, that's going to be the name that's going to end up on the tax deed if you prevail. So if you're buying certificates as your 123 Smith, then your deed is going to go into you from the tax deed sale that nobody bought your property at the opening bid. Is going to go into 123 Smith. Now that's okay if that main name means nothing and it has no assets. The problem is that if there are assets, or let's say, God forbid, other real estate in that same name that you own, anything that's on that tax deed property is going to stick to your property that you own in that same name. So if you own a property under the name 123 Smith over on Main Street, the property that just got forced on you because there were no bidders at the tax deed sale, all the property problems and warts and toad things that are going to be on the property you just got forced to buy is going to stick to your property on Main Street. So here's the remedy. Before you make application for a tax deed, assign your tax deed, or your tax certificate, your tax certificate to an entity that owns nothing. A single entity, LLC, you could speak to your legal counsel about what type of entity it should be, but it needs to be an entity that doesn't own any other real property, because then you could get into a little sticky problem with all the municipal liens, and there's going to be some on your property. Okay, so I have a special on my safe tax certificate investing in Florida, a little manual. It's at my website, pofsk.com, And there's the link. I probably shouldn't have put the link on the screen, so I'll put it in the description below, and you'll be able to take a look at it. It's only $30, but it'll steer you clear of any problems. It'll show you what kind of research you need to do because you're buying tax certificates. And I hope that this brings some less sleepless nights. I hope everything goes well with all your investing. And again, I want to thank you for tuning in. This is Alfred Einstein saying, you don't know what you don't know. Okay, thank you.